Forget Super Bowl favorites. One NFL analyst just described the Rams as a team the league may have no answer for. And the scariest part? Aaron Donald doesn't even have to be the old Aaron Donald.
The final assault to the Super Bowl mountain, at least to the summit, begins Week 15 when they play the Seahawks for the first time. They don't need Donald until then. They don't need him to be at 100% firing on all cylinders, being the guy who can beat single teams handily and get to the quarterback, or otherwise just blow up the play, F the play up, as Sims would say, with Myles Garrett getting extra attention. That's the thing. Aaron Donald doesn't have to come back and be the guy Aaron Donald was. There's a percentage less than what he used to be where he's still going to be as dominant, if not more dominant, because you can't devote the resources to stopping him like you used to. Why did he retire? He got burned out. It's easy to get burned out when every time you line up, you got 2 or 3 guys trying to keep you from doing your job. It gets old. Now, maybe that won't happen. That had to be the thing that caused him to explore whether or not he can light the fire again. So if it takes a while to get the fire started, and then you've got the kindling, you've got, the whole process before it's fully engulfed, if that takes a few weeks or longer into the regular season, so be it. This isn't about trotting out Aaron Donald when they introduce the starting lineups in Melbourne. This is about Aaron Donald being in the starting lineup when they play the Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium in February of 2027. So, okay, fine. He may not be back in the immediate future, but the way it's presented sure looks like he's coming back. And when he does, the Rams will be the presumptive Super Bowl champions. They're already the favorites. That continues to be the biggest challenge. And Dan Patrick and I were talking about this the other day on his show. I'll take it, as Dan said. And yes, it's great to have a team that is perceived to be stocked and the clear favorite to win the Super Bowl. But still got to motivate your players. And when they start reading what everyone is writing, hearing what everyone is saying, dealing with the fact that every game is going to be the Super Bowl for every team that plays them, and then you throw in injuries. That one thing that we know will happen, but we don't know who it will happen to or when. It's the unpredictable reality of playing the games that will tend to turn favorites into also-rans. And if a team stays healthy, it otherwise wasn't supposed to be competitive. Well, if everyone else has injury issues and they stay healthy, that team ends up being a contender. Keeping your key players healthy for as long as possible is one of the core ingredients in emerging as a true contender at the end of the season.
Let's stick with Joe Burrow and the Bengals. If they miss the playoffs again, then that would be, we talk about how they're the only team that didn't change head coaches. That could certainly be on the table. And the chatter about, would or should Joe Burrow went out of Cincinnati, that's going to be a big topic next offseason. This is a crucial year for the Cincinnati Bengals.
I feel like some of that, in my mind, quieted when the Rams drafted Ty Simpson. I feel like the talk in the league, like that, when you do these jobs for a living, you just hear people chattering. Mm-hmm. The chatter was the Rams want Burrow when Stafford retires, but then they go and draft Ty Simpson to stash him on their bench, so that seems to be over.
It needs to be said that Joe Burrow has never expressed a sentiment of wanting out of Cincinnati.
He just
even though before he got drafted, people were doing this with him. So my point is this: whether he wants out or not, this is going to be a topic, and that's not really, if you're the Bengals, what you want people talking about.
Of course, I totally understand why you're saying what you're saying, and what I'm saying, what added a little fuel to it, I thought, was just sort of the way he seemed at the end of last year, right? He seemed so down and frustrated.
Over it.
Yeah.
But he seems different now. Like, I feel like he's talked a lot about accountability, putting it on himself, not letting people get away with cutting corners. Like, he feels really intent on making this season work for them. It's not all in his control, but you're right. That would be a doomsday scenario because we've been, especially if he's healthy, because we've always had the excuse, he's not healthy.
The doomsday scenario is that not that he gets injured, it's that he throws 40 touchdowns and they miss the playoffs despite of that. That's the one you don't want. This is all very negative, though. I hope the Bengals do great this year.
He had one of the great seasons of all time 2 years ago.
He did.
and it got them absolutely nothing. All right, Dominique, what is your doomsday scenario?
It's Aaron Donald coming back and being as good as he was when he left. That is a doomsday scenario. We've talked about it as if it's a possibility it could happen, and we also assume that he'll be like some lesser version of himself. He wasn't declining when he stopped playing. He stopped playing because he felt like it.
Yeah.
Like he still had the ability to forklift offensive linemen and throw them into the quarterback. If he comes back and is next to Myles Garrett with the two new corners that they have, this team feels like that defense will be on par with the Texans and the other great defenses in football.
I know, on par. I mean, you add those two guys, they're the two defining defensive linemen of their generation.
You didn't like on par? I think you need to cut that Texas tape back on, Greeny.
Their defense is outstanding.
They were killing people, Greeny. Yeah, so I mean, maybe this team will be even better than that. You're right. These are the two defining defensive players of this generation.
I mean, you put Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald, if he's any semblance of what he was at his best, it would make me think of, I was an AAU dad to my son. I saw a million games that you knew when the layup line should not be played. Like, you're watching the layup line. I'm like, that other team is dunking.
It's a dunk line.
My son is 9. We should not be playing. Like, we're going to call mandatory calling off the press when the league gets to 20. Like, that's how good I think the Rams could be.
I had the same exact experience. The coach told my team, guys, let's try a lot of pump fakes in this game. Just pump fake them. See if you can get them up in the air. I'm with you, though, and I can help out with this. Aaron Donald return, this is much like the Robert Downey Jr. return. He went from being Iron Man, like a good guy, to now he's a bad guy. Now he's Dr. Doom. And if Aaron Donald comes back and he's like, I'm kind of cranky, I've been at home for 2 years, I'm angry, I'm kettlebelled up, and now I'm going to unleash this on you. Now he's Dr. Doom. That's
kettlebelled up.
Forget the conversation about Super Bowl favorites. One NFL analyst just suggested something even more frightening. The Rams may become a team that the rest of the league simply cannot solve. And the most unbelievable part is that Aaron Donald doesn't even have to return as the same unstoppable player we remember. Think about it. For nearly a decade, every offense built its protection around stopping Aaron Donald. He faced double teams, triple teams. Entire game plans were designed to slow down one man. Now imagine a completely different reality. Myles Garrett is commanding just as much attention. The secondary is stronger. The pass rush is deeper. Suddenly, Aaron Donald isn't being asked to carry the defense. He's being asked to finish it. That's exactly why speculation surrounding his return refuses to disappear. And that's where the Rams' real strategy begins. This isn't about bringing Aaron Donald back for Week 1. It isn't even about making headlines in September. The Rams know their championship window isn't measured by opening weekend. It's measured by January and hopefully February. Many believe the real target is Week 15 against Seattle when the playoff race reaches another level. Donald doesn't need to play at 100% before then. In fact, he doesn't have to become the old Aaron Donald at all. He simply needs to become a version of himself that offenses can no longer double team every snap. That's what changes everything. For years, burnout became part of his career. Imagine fighting through 2 or even 3 blockers every single play. Eventually, even greatness gets tired. Now, with Garrett attracting equal attention, Donald may finally experience something he rarely enjoyed during his career: freedom. But even the most talented roster faces one opponent nobody can defeat: injuries. Every season, they change the Super Bowl picture. The Rams may look loaded today, but staying healthy is what separates contenders from champions. That's why expectations have become both their biggest strength and biggest danger. Every opponent will treat Los Angeles like its own Super Bowl. Every mistake will be magnified. Meanwhile, across the league, another franchise is facing enormous pressure: the Bengals. Joe Burrow has never publicly asked to leave Cincinnati. But if the Bengals miss the playoffs again, that conversation won't disappear anymore. Imagine Burrow throwing 40 touchdown passes, staying healthy all season, and still watching the postseason from home. That would become one of the biggest NFL stories of the year. But as uncomfortable as Cincinnati's future may become, there's still one scenario that's even more terrifying. Everyone keeps assuming Aaron Donald would come back as a lesser version of himself. But what if that's the biggest mistake anyone can make? Remember, he didn't retire because football beat him. He retired because he walked away. He still had the strength to overwhelm offensive linemen. Now imagine 2 years of recovery, 2 years of training, 2 years letting that competitive fire build back up. Then place him beside Myles Garrett. You're talking about two of the greatest defensive players of this generation attacking the same offensive line. That's not just an elite defense. That's a defense capable of overwhelming games before they even begin. One analyst compared it to watching youth basketball. The other team isn't practicing layups. They're throwing down dunks before tip-off. You already know what's about to happen. And maybe that's the perfect comparison. Aaron Donald once looked like Iron Man. But if he comes back stronger, angrier, and fully motivated, he won't be Iron Man anymore. He'll be Dr. Doom. And if that happens, the race for the Super Bowl may suddenly become a race to survive the Los Angeles Rams. Would Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett become the greatest defensive duo of the modern NFL? Or is the hype going too far?
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.